And I think that's probably why, really.
Right. So, like I would say here for myself, you play to your strengths. So that's where your popularity was.
One of the most amazing things is that I joined the band in 1971, and in 1975 we were playing at Carnegie Hall.
Do you have a favorite album or a favorite track from the Renaissance catalog?
Oh, gosh. It's very difficult because they're all so different, and the words and the stories are so different. I love Scheherazade. I think that's a magnificent piece of work.
Now, are there any favorites that you like to perform in concert live?
Well, again, there's so many. I love Midas Man.
Now, I played that earlier on the show today as well. So
yeah, Running Hard, Mother Russia.
Mm-hmm. These are definitely all fan favorites from my listeners that request these, so that's great. We just briefly, before a few moments ago, we spoke briefly about the Carnegie Hall situation. That happened in the mid-'70s, right?
Yes, yeah.
That must have been like almost a surreal experience, right?
It was.
I mean, you're only with the band for, 3 years or so at the time, and already you're on like one of the center stages of the world. Now, was it more than one performance that you had there?
It's 3 nights.
3 nights.
3 nights sold out.
Now, this is a topic that, for categories that to me it might seem difficult for people to put their finger on. But now, how would you categorize the music of the band Renaissance? Now, I group them into my favorite genre, which I say is progressive rock. Yeah. What would you say?
Well, it is progressive rock, really, but it stands out as more adventurous and more melodious.
Yes.
Than regular progressive rock.
Sure.
I would say I've always called it classical rock or symphonic rock.
That's a good way to place it. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Very good.
Because the melodies are very strong and memorable.
Now, I'm writing that down as we speak. Classical rock. I like that. I'm going to be using that phrase on the show now, especially when I refer to Renaissance music. Now we're going through the 70s. The 70s move along. The band continues to release albums, but we're now past the real glory days of the progressive rock music scene. And I know that punk and the new wave music are coming on the scene now. Did you ever feel threatened by these changes in the music industry?
I guess, I don't know if threaten's the word, but yes. It was a change pretty quickly. It was it was almost like it was overnight.
Overnight, Did you ever feel that was going to push your music to the side? These
well, what it did was it made us and our record company. Well, we did have a hit with Northern Lights in England, and so therefore we had. And I wouldn't say it was pressure, but just advice to kind of come up with something that was more commercial the next time.
Right.
And so this is what we were doing, but we tried to make the band more commercial with As You Adore. I think that was the next stepping stone. And then after that, it just went too far. I went over the edge, which is a shame because we lost our uniqueness.
Yes.
We should have stayed where we were.
Stayed the course,
yeah. Yeah, we should have stayed the course.
This is Sunday Naked Brunch. This is G-Man here on Brave New Radio 88.7 FM and GoBrave.org. And if you're just tuning in, my special guest on the phone right now with me is the unmistakable angelic voice of Annie Haslam, the heart and soul of the band Renaissance. And we're just having a nice chat here about Annie's career. Now, getting back to like a timeline here. Now, I know you started your solo career around 1977.
Yes.
But now the band is still together, though, at this time, correct?
Yes. I think at that point, John Tout wasn't very well, and so we had to take a few weeks off, a couple of months off.
Now, is that the reason why? Did you feel like you had needed to express your musical interests outside of the band, or was there just like downtime?
No, not really. I was never one that was thinking, "Oh, I'm going to be a solo performer, or I'm going to leave the band and do my own thing." I wasn't a songwriter, and I wasn't competitive in that field, and so it seemed a natural thing to do. And at that point, I was engaged to Roy Wood of the Move fame and ELO,
sure.
And it just seemed to fit into place that, let's find out if Seymour Stein at Psy Records would be interested in a solo album.
Right, and then of course the issue there is it's released as Annie in Wonderland, yes. Correct? And that was it like produced by Roy Wood?
Yes, and he played a lot of, he played nearly on all of them. I think he played on all the tracks.
A lot of the instruments. Yeah, I love the album cover from that because it has like a take on the Alice in Wonderland theme.
He did that. He did that himself. He's also a great artist, and I remember that I had to drive the artwork down to London. They had a deadline, and he stayed up all night, and he showed it to me, and I said, "Oh, Roy, you forgot the White Rabbit." Oh, he said, "No, he's in swimming." There's an ocean in the back, so obviously he forgot his in.
Yes.
No. And so obviously he was like dying to go to sleep. Oh, he's in swimming. All right, then I'll tell them that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool story. Very cool story. Now, I'm just curious, again, maybe it's at this time or you tell me in timeline, when did you start to get involved in painting?
Actually, that was in 2002 when I'd wound down my solo career, which I started in 1987. And I'd put out several solo albums, and we'd gone to Japan and Brazil and done quite a few shows on the east coast of America, but it wasn't, I didn't have a manager, and I did everything myself, and it just became too much in the end. And I just felt that it was time to give it a break. And I was terrified by making that decision. The thought of ending it was awful.
That's a very difficult decision,
It's
sure.
a very difficult decision, but I knew that I had to do it, and maybe a week later, a voice in my head as clear as day said it's time to start oil painting now.
Now, did you ever have any formal training before you started painting?
Well, I went to art school to be a dress designer.
Okay.
But I did fabric printing, I did photography, typography. I enrolled for a watercolor class. I did one watercolor and couldn't stand it because it dried so quickly. I thought, I can't be bothered with this. So I never did another painting. That's the only painting I ever did. I doodled when I was in the studio. I used to, I've got some doodles, some great doodles actually I did, but I didn't think anything of it, just did it to pass the time. And so never did any oil painting. So when I got this message in my head that was so clear to me, I went out and bought canvases, easel. I converted my sunroom into a studio. I bought the paints. I bought a book on oil painting, but I don't read. So I read one page. I thought, I can't be bothered with this. So anyway, I didn't start for another 2 months.
A slight bit of procrastination,
it
possibly?
was really weird, and it was just because it was timing. And then one day I woke up, and I went outside. I knew it was the day, and I picked a tiger lily. And I came back, and I'd got terps, and I'd got the oil paints and everything out. I thought, I wonder how I do this, because I didn't read the book, right? I only read one page in the book, so I just made up. I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to make it up, because it's the only way I can do it. So I painted this tiger lily, and it was really quite basic, and I thought, and I got upset with myself. I thought, oh, dear, something's going on here. This isn't right. I'm not meant to paint flowers. But I didn't know what I was supposed to do. And so, but when I was painting the grass underneath the flower, I felt like somebody was holding my hand. And the grass was all wavy, and I had a beautiful stroke to it. And I thought, that's weird. I really felt like somebody was helping me. And I thought, okay, carry on. So I picked another canvas up, and I just did a grass. That's all I did. And the same thing happened. It was like somebody was guiding my hand to get this, to pull this out of me. From that moment on, though, the painting was set. It was like, hang on a second, here we go. And it was like everything came. It was like opening the floodgates. Because I never did one painting intentionally. It just all poured out.
Yeah, I've spoken to people in the past that have had that type of experience. It's just something that happens, and like you said, it's like an eye-opening experience.
Yes, it is.
And then it just gets easy and just comes natural from that point on. Now, did you ever have any, or currently, are there any artists that influence your work in what you do, or is it just?
I love Leonardo da Vinci. In fact, on our new album that we're just finishing the mixing of, we wrote a song about Leonardo da Vinci, and I'm so thrilled with it. I can't tell you, it's just phenomenal. And Vincent van Gogh, and I like Frida Kahlo, and I like Turner. I love all things that are good. You know. I love,
sure.
But Leonardo's on the top of my list. We have so many things in common.
As he
One
would
of the
be,
main things is he's a vegetarian.
Oh,
he was a vegetarian.
Right. He would be on a lot of people's top
Of course
list.
he would.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.